have, well, the first two applications of exponential functions that we're going to look at is compounding interest. We have two scenarios. They are either going to tell you that it is compounded a certain number of times per year. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. Okay, so you need to know what that corresponds to. In times per year is how many times. Okay, in is how many times per year. So if it says that it's compounded quarterly, what is n equal to? 4. Okay, if it's compounded quarterly, every quarter of a year, that's 4 times n equals 4. Quarterly, n equals 4. How many weeks are in a year? 52. Yay, y'all knew that. 52 weeks, 12 months. Hopefully I don't have to tell you that. I'm trying to think of the other, like, kind of tricky ones. Daily, okay? If it says daily, we're going to just no leap years, okay? So daily, 365, okay? What'd you say, Alex? What'd you say? You said something. Halves? So that would be what, like semi-annually? That would be twice a year, okay? I've never really seen that one pop up too much, okay? These are the most common. Okay, so that's n. Notice the n is only under the r, okay? It's not 1 plus r in parentheses divided by n. It's just the n is over the r, okay? I've seen a few people kind of mess that up. Well, yeah, I mean, they're kind of, yes. I just couldn't make the parentheses that big there, okay? And there are parentheses around this entire thing, okay? But the r is only divided by the n, okay? It's not 1 plus r divided by n. Just the r is divided by the n. Why are y'all talking? Okay, let's keep going. A is the amount after a certain amount of time. What does P stand for? The principal, not Mrs. Hodges, but what you originally, this is PLE, I think. Yes, okay. That's your initial investment is sometimes how it will be put as well. Okay, principal or initial investment, whatever you put into the account. Okay, R. Okay, R of course does stand for rate, but you have to convert to a decimal. Convert percent to decimal. Now, the percent probably already has a decimal to it, like 6.2%, but when I'm saying convert it to a decimal, you have to move the decimal place 2 places to the left to convert your percent to a decimal, or you will not get the right answer. The n in the exponent is the same as the n in the denominator there. And then just as a side note, you need to put parentheses around the n and the t together, or else it will not compute correctly. And then t, what does t stand for? Time in years. Okay, t is time in years. Because n is already a measure of time, but that's talking about the number of times per year that it's compounded. T is how many years you're talking about this account being in effect. Okay, so that's if it's compounded a certain number of times per year. If it is compounded continuously, okay, you must see this word, compounded continuously, in order to use PERT. Otherwise, it's the bigger, longer formula. But if it says continuous or continuously, it's PERT. P-E to the R-T. So we don't have to worry about the number of times per year because it's like it's compounded every instant, really. So A, P, they're all the same. E is the number from the calculator or the button on the calculator, however you want to look at it. R and T are the same. Okay, you still have to convert the rate to a decimal, and T is the number of years. Okay, and you also need to, the good thing about the E is it starts a set of parentheses. So that's usually not as big of a deal to put the parentheses there because it automatically puts it there. But there's more than one number in the exponent, so you have to put parentheses around it. All right, so let's look at an example. We invest $12,000, so that is our P, our principal, at an annual rate of 3%, so R equals 0.03, because the decimal is following the 3, move it 2 places to the left, 0.03. Find the balance after 5 years, so T equals 5. When the interest is compounded, we're going to look at 3 different scenarios: quarterly, monthly, and continuously. So let's set up our equations. On the quiz, I want you to write out the setup. Okay, I want you to write out the setup, because if I know that you can set up the problem, you may not have gotten the right answer, but that's a calculator issue, not a content, do I know what I'm doing issue. We are looking for the amount or the balance. Okay, so we're looking for A. We know P, it's 12,000. 1 plus the rate, 0.03, divided by N. This one's quarterly, so N equals 4 to the 4 times T, which is 5. Okay, so be very careful when you're putting this in the calculator. Okay, be very careful. So we've got 12,000. Whoops, too many zeros. Once again, be careful. Parentheses, 1 plus. You really don't have to put the 0.03 over 4 in parentheses. Okay, you can just type that in just like that, and you're fine. Because in this case, you do want the calculator to divide the 0.03 by 4. You don't want it to add the 1 and the 0.03 and then divide by 4. So that's fine the way it is. Okay, exponent. My suggestion is if it's something easy like 4 times 5, just do it in your head. Okay, 20. Because if you don't, if you just do this right here, no parentheses or nothing, you just type it in like that, that is not the correct answer. Okay, this is the correct answer if you put parentheses around it. Okay, very different numbers there, very different amounts, especially when you're talking about money. So parentheses matter, or if it's something easy to multiply, just go ahead and multiply it and put that number up there. Okay, so after 5 years compounded quarterly, we have made approximately $13,934.21. We're talking about money, so you should automatically round to 2 numbers after the decimal. Okay, so if we change this to monthly, the only thing in our equation here that changes is that N is equal to 12. So I'm not going to write this one out. I'm just going to go to my calculator, press second enter. That brings up the last thing I typed in. I'm going to change my 4 to a 12. I can overwrite and then press second delete, and it will let me insert the 2. Okay. 4 is changing to a 12. It's still 5 years. Okay, so we make a little bit more money here. Not a whole lot. We make about $5 more when it is compounded 8 more times in a year. Okay, so you want your money to be compounded more frequently. Because they're going to add to your balance and then they're going to compound off of that. So it kind of makes sense, right, that it should be bigger. All right, and then last scenario, if it's compounded continuously, completely different equation. A equals the principal times E to the rate, 0.03 times the time, 5 years. Again, on the quiz, I want you to show me the setup, so that I can determine, if you miss it, hopefully you don't miss it, but if you do miss it, so I can determine whether it's you don't know the formula or you just don't know how to type it in correctly. Okay? And if it's compounded continuously, we make a little bit more than that, about $3 more. Oops, that's a decimal. About $3 more if it's compounded continuously than if it's compounded monthly. Okay, so not a whole lot of difference when you get to that. But hey, $3 is $3, right? Okay, so here are your practice problems.